the primary combat knife, be it because it's one of the best weapons to start your game with in terms of points and getting set up for the rest of the game, or just be it that it's pretty fun to use and be going knife only in these higher rounds. A lot of people, including myself, saw this as a great way to start grinding for that dark Aether camo. However, if you go about it the wrong way, the knife can go from being something that's fun to use to more of a pain. So hopefully here I have some tips and tricks for every single series of camos to make this knife as fun as possible to get gold. I'll have all the different series of camos timestamped out in the description, so you're able to just jump to whatever series of camos you think you need the most help on. Also, I do stream most of this camo grind over on Twitch, so if you want to come and hang out with us while we're working towards this dark Aether camo, there will be a link for that down in the description below. And without any further ado, let's get into these tips and tricks. The first series of challenges that you receive with the knife is the Grunge series, and all this series requires you to do is to get 750 kills with the knife, and this can be when the knife is pack-a-punched or just base. And while this challenge is pretty straightforward, it's just getting kills with it, I do have a few tips here that might be able to make the process a little bit faster for you. And the first tip that I have for this is to just stay in spawn till about round 10. Your loadout knife is able to one hit without any upgrades till about round 13, so just staying in the spawn and keeping the power off means you don't have to worry about any Plaguehound spawning, you don't have to worry about dealing with megatons, you can just focus on getting those easy knife kills. Plus, after round 10, you'll have so many points, you'll be able to get all your perks, you'll be able to get all the doors open, no problem, and you'll be able to set up to run as long as you want with the knife. Assuming that you get most of the kills with a knife in your game, you're able to finish this series as soon as a single round 25 game. So just go ahead, stick in spawn, get armored up at round 10, and then you will be able to knock out this entire series in just one single game. The next tip that I have for you guys when it comes to just using the knife is definitely to use stims in your tactical slot. When you're using the knife, you're going to get hit way more than you're probably used to. You'll probably be caught off guard by it. So just being able to pop one of those stims, get yourself back up to full health, and keep grinding for those camos is definitely the best way I've found to run it. The final tip that I have for you guys is to just make sure that you're topped up on your armor once you open up the map. When you're using the knife, you're going to be getting hit a lot more than when you use bullet guns. So you can often be caught off guard by how quick your armor breaks. So just making sure to get that tier 3 armor as quick as you can. Make sure to go fix it at the end of every round almost, no matter how much damage you take. Because you might have one good round where you don't take a lot of hits, and then the next round it could get broken almost immediately because you didn't fix it. So overall, just make sure to run stims, make sure to be vigilant on your armor, and these knife kills will go by in no time. Next up, we have the Liquid series of challenges, which you receive at weapon level 10. What this series requires you to do is to get 50 kills on zombies that are disoriented by a stun grenade, a monkey bomb, or a decoy grenade. Overall, this series of challenges is pretty easy, but it can be pretty tedious if you're not going about it using the right equipment. So here, I have all three of them compared, along with my recommendations on which ones you should take. The first way to go about it is using stuns, which cost 250 salvage, and you're also allowed to hold up to 5 of them. Normally per stun, I was able to get about 3 to 5 kills, all depending on if I stunned myself on accident, how many of the zombies in the train actually got stunned, and just how quick I was with my kills. Overall, this is definitely the way that I would recommend to go if you're trying to save some salvage or you're on a lower round where you might not have as much, where the other two options can be pretty expensive. Next up, we have the monkey bomb, which comes in at 1,000 salvage, and you're also only allowed to hold 2 of them. Most of the time with monkeys, I was able to get around 7 to 9 kills due to the extended time that the zombies were distracted. But obviously 1000 salvage is a lot for one piece of equipment. So if you're maybe on a higher round and you're trying to go for these, I could definitely recommend doing this over the stuns. But if you're on a lower round, definitely would not recommend throwing out that 1000 salvage over and over. Finally, we have decoy nades, which cost 500 salvage, and you're also able to hold 3 at a time with these ones. Most of the time with the decoys, due to their short overall distraction time, I was only able to manage around 3 to 5 kills with them. So I definitely would not recommend picking up these from the crafting table due to the fact that they're so expensive and you can get way more value out of saving up for a monkey or grabbing a couple stuns instead. And obviously, if any of these drop on the ground while you're going for these series of camos, definitely pick them up and use them. Even if it's the decoy nade and it might not be the best, anything for free is great, so make sure to capitalize on that. This series of challenges will go by pretty quick, probably only taking you one game, but just make sure to be using the equipment that's best for your salvage situation, and you'll get them done in no time. Next up, we have the Brushstroke series, which you receive at weapon level 15. What this series asks you to do is to get 750 kills with the knife while it's pack-a-punched. I only really have one tip for this series that doesn't directly mirror the Grunge series, and that is to pack-a-punch your knife as early as possible in your game. Especially because you're using the knife as your primary weapon, you're going to have an abundance of points throughout the game since you're only going to be getting melee kills. So jumping on Pack-a-Punch as quick as you can is definitely the easiest way to get this done in one game. Assuming you Pack-a-Punch somewhere around round 8 or 9, you should be able to have all these kills done by about round 30. So just go ahead, get that knife Pack-a-Punched early, and get these ones knocked out in a single game. Next up, we have the Vintage series, which unlocks at weapon level 15. What this series asks you to do is to get 15 kills while zombies are either hit by your Frost Blast or your Ring of Fire, or while you're in your Aether Shroud. This series of camos is incredibly easy as it only requires you to get 15 kills with your knife. And the way that I recommend that you take this series on is by using the Aether Shroud. While we all love the Ring of Fire for bullet guns, it paired with the knife doesn't really match up well. Due to the fact that you can only knife about a zombie a second, it's really easy to get overrun in your ring and downed before the ring is able to burn up the zombies. Plus, if you have the Aether Shroud tiered up to last 8 seconds, it means you'll be able to get about 8 kills, which means that you'll have this series knocked out as soon as 2 Aether Shroud charges. So just go ahead, hop into a game with the Aether Shroud, and get this series knocked out like it's nothing. Next up is the Fauna series, which you receive at weapon level 20. And what this series requires you to do is to get 10 elite eliminations with your knife. Sometimes these megatons can be tough to even take out with bullets, so obviously going toe-to-toe against them with a knife can seem incredibly scary. However, I have a couple tips and things to look for to make sure that you can backstab these guys with ease. First tip that I have for you guys is that not all the damage on the megaton has to come from your knife, only the finishing blow. So making sure to use a better weapon such as a ray gun or a shotgun, or in some of these clips I was using a free RPD that I got, to just get the boss's health down to 1 or at absolute most 2 stabs so you can just run up and finish them off, makes these series of camos incredibly easy. The other tip that I have for you guys when it comes to taking on these megatons with your knife is to make sure that you have at least 2 armor bars on the round that they spawn in. We all know that the megatons can hit like a truck, so making sure that you have the armor to tank those hits, since you're going to be getting up nice and close to these guys, will make sure that your games aren't ended early due to getting one hit by them. If you do these couple of things, these challenges will absolutely fly by and be a breeze, So go ahead, grab your ray gun, grab your armor, and take out those megatons. Next up, we have the Topography series, which you receive at weapon level 25, and this series requires you to get 10 rapid kills with your knife 10 times. This one's pretty easy overall since it's just a generic kill challenge and you only need 100 of them. So the only real tip that I have for this series in particular is to let the zombies spawn into the map before you start stabbing them. By waiting and allowing at least 10 zombies to be on the map at one time, you don't have to worry about possibly having that kill timer reset while you're waiting for zombies to spawn, and it's a guaranteed way to get those 10 kills. The way that I mostly did this one was getting the zombies trained up and then just picking them off one by one at the front of the train, because normally you can have at least like 25 zombies in that train, so you can get 2 of these challenges knocked out in a single round. Again, this challenge is easier than you'd think. It's not going to be too hard, so just go ahead, jump into it, and these ones will fly by. Finally, we have the Infection series, which you receive at weapon level 30. What this series requires you to do is to get 20 kills with the knife while taking no damage. I would say that this series of camos is probably the toughest, not only due to the fact that you have to get your knife to level 30 in order to access them, but the fact that not getting hit while using the knife isn't exactly the easiest thing. However, I do have a strategy for you guys that should be able to make these camos really easy overall. And the way that I recommend that you guys do these camos is in games that you don't take past round 10. Anything past round 10, the zombies start to get a little bit faster. They might sneak up on you. They might hit you in your like 10 kills and you lose all that progress. It's not fun to take on past those first 10 rounds. So 100% do this early in your game. The way that I really recommend that you guys do this is just don't even leave the spawn. Don't go turn on power, because then you have to deal with dogs and megatons. So just go ahead and chill out in spawn for 10 rounds and just get those kills without getting hit. Each game up to round 10 has about 180 zombies in those 10 rounds. So it will take you at least 2 games to get these challenges done, but this is definitely way more efficient than trying to take it on, say, a round 20 game. And the other big tip that I have for you guys when it comes to taking on this Infection series is try to avoid the knife lunge animation. Whenever this animation triggers, it always sucks you in to the zombie instead of allowing you to keep your distance. So if there's more than one there and you lunge, you're almost guaranteed to take a hit. And the easiest way that I've found to avoid this knife lunge animation is just knife way earlier than you think you actually need to. Especially if you're running at the zombies, if you go for that knife kill a little bit earlier than you think, you still have the range of the knife lunge, but you don't actually have to lunge into them. This series can be pretty tedious and you can feel like it's going to take forever because you'll be at like 19 kills and take a hit. But so long as you're just staying in spawn, not turning on that power, doing it in a couple games and avoiding that knife lunge animation, these camos will come in no time at all. And congrats, you did it. You got your knife Viper Gold. The camos in this game, some of them are absolutely beautiful. Unfortunately, Viper Gold is not one of those camos. I really hope they update it, try to make it a little more shiny, make it look a little bit more golden. However, this Plague Diamond knife looks absolutely fantastic. Love how it looks. Very, very stoked that I went out and grinded for this one. And that does it for how to get the knife Viper Gold. Obviously, a lot of time goes into these videos between finding out which way's the best, actually leveling up the knife, and then getting these tips to you guys. So if you found anything helpful in this video, please make sure to drop a like so more people are able to get their knives gold even faster. Down below in the comments, make sure to let me know which weapons we should take on Plague Diamond for next, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss those videos when we drop them. Again, I do stream most of this grind over on Twitch, so if you'd like to come hang out with us while we work on it, I'll leave a link for that down below. And yeah, that's going to do it for me, guys. I really appreciate you guys watching. And as always, I will see you in the next one. Till then.